Sometimes I be right in your face and hit like Genjutsu in place. That's how it be though. Nothing but great effort just to get a C though. Eyes watching but we never seem to be though. Okay, so with today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and comment below if you would like to see more videos like this, kind of talking about maybe the things from the Dragon Ball verse that don't necessarily get talked about, or maybe they're kind of sort of canon but not really, or they're related to the story. So we're gonna start off with this video, the son of Frieza, Kuriza. Now you probably may have seen an image, you probably heard about it, maybe you thought it was a rumor or whatever, but no, Kuriza actually is a thing. He appeared in the series Neko Majin Z, which you're probably thinking, is that some sort of Dragon Ball spin-off or whatever? It was essentially, I believe, a comedy parody series where it kind of like looked like certain aspects of Dragon Ball, and I believe the characters even crossed over a couple of times, hence this guy Kuriza or whatever. But pretty much this series was created by the creator of Dragon Ball, of course, Akira Toriyama. He made Neko Majin Z, and in it appeared this character, Kuriza, Frieza'S son. Now, a lot of people probably thinking, oh, okay, so we got another evil, strong, out of this world bastard. For starters, let's talk a little bit about his design, because obviously, being Frieza'S son, he's going to be a part of the Frieza race. I guess, for starters, I want to know, I'm not really sure of all the specifics or whatnot, but if that's the father, who was Frieza tapping? I gotta know. Or does his race just kind of spit out eggs similar to the Namekians or whatever? But nevertheless, his son Kuriza, a couple of interesting tidbits about him, because again, you're probably thinking, oh, this evil strong guy or whatever. It was actually stated that amongst the Frieza race, you know, because there's many of these people, Frieza and his father are the standouts. They're not all strong. In fact, based on the info that we have from the universe of this stuff or whatnot, pretty much they're the ones that are really strong, and the rest of the race aren't nowhere near. But in particular, Frieza himself outclasses even his father. I mean, for crying out loud, King Cold, he thought he was, you know, all that in a bag of chips, and look what Trunks did to him in what, Super Saiyan 1? So you can imagine that Frieza, he goes and trains off, which everybody called BS on it or whatever, and he was really strong. Kuriza, he's nowhere near as strong as them, especially, you know, his father, because, you know, Frieza became just this absolute monster of strength and whatnot. He's not even as strong as his father, but he still has a decent amount of power behind him. Also, the evil nature that Frieza has, he's not in particularly as evil. Again, this was in a kind of comedy parody manga, so they're not gonna probably take it as far as, like, you know, if it was Dragon Ball itself, where Frieza's doing all these misdeeds. He seems more of a goofy type of character, kind of not necessarily zany, but he just, again, doesn't have the chops, so to speak, to back up whatever he's trying to accomplish. There was even a cool little fight where we get to see him battle damage and whatnot, see his first form, we see his final form. In his first form, I believe he lacks the horns. He doesn't have the horns like what his father has in, you know what I'm saying, the manga and the anime or whatever, in his first form. But then, of course, in his final form, he kind of looks like Frieza, but then he has like little tiny wannabe horns, something it barely pushes up on the top of his head. And the character himself, yeah, Frieza does have a son, Kuriza, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some given point, with everything that is happening in Dragon Ball, when we thought we would never hear, hide, nothing of Broly, we got Kale that looked just like Broly and even kind of played a little bit with the transformations. We also know in the new movie, it looks as though they're kind of taking some elements, potentially, from what Broly was, at the very least, like, you know, the cool idea of this crazy legendary Saiyan. So there's a huge possibility at some given point, whether it be in this movie or in an upcoming anime or in the manga or in general, if Toriyama wants to do it, because we know Toriyama absolutely loves him some Frieza. I mean, he brought him back how many times and said, this is the villain that I'm most familiar with, and, you know, he likes to do it. We could see Kuriza at some given point in the series. Nothing confirmed. Again, he's only been really in Neko Majin Z, from what I understand. He might have been in some of the video games too, but aside from that, he hasn't, of course, appeared in the manga or the anime or whatever. But you never know. Kuriza, very interesting character. Kind of curious what you guys think about this whole scenario, Frieza having a son. For starters, who is the woman that was I don't know if it's lucky enough or misfortune enough to be with Frieza? Again, we don't know if this race in particular spits out eggs or how these kids come about, but we do know that that's obviously his father. So kind of curious, again, what do you guys think? Does he have an actual mother? If so, how does that work? I would love to see a female in the Frieza race or whatever. From what we've seen thus far, we got Kuriza, we have Chilled, of course, King Cold, Cooler, and Frieza himself, and they've all seemingly been men this one right here, again, of course, you know, him being a boy. Kuriza, again, I want to know, does he have a mom? Also, what do you guys think in terms of this guy not necessarily being as evil as his father or anything like that? He seems as maybe he got a temper or whatever, and in fact in the manga there was a little gag of him wilding out and getting crazy because they were running out of pages. So again, interesting stuff regarding Kuriza and his whole story. If you'd like to see me cover more of this, especially in a little bit more of in-depth, I wanted to kind of just test the waters with like maybe a little mini version of this, then definitely let me know and drop me a like so that I could know, like, okay, yeah, y'all really like these and dig these. Kuriza looks like a really interesting character. And do you think we'll see him maybe one day actually be in the canon of Dragon Ball, in a sense of either whether it be the manga, the anime? Toriyama loves him some Frieza, and if there's room for him to include Kuriza in there, I think he'd do it. So who knows, maybe I could be giving you guys a preempted thing for the next anime or movie or whatever the case may be, and your overall thoughts of this. But that is all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook. And also follow me on Twitch. I'll be streaming on there every now and then in the nighttime, playing some crazy games and stuff. We have a lot of fun. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. I want to see some Kuriza. I'm just saying, imagine him animated. Father, son, bring King Cole back from the dead. Put Cooler in there as well. Make them all canon. The Frieza family. That'd be legit. Have an awesome day. Make a major move. Laugh and let the haters lose. We don't give a fuck. Virginity intact. Cream stack. Paper rules. If you heard it, best